can run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Go tell that long-tongued liar. Go and tell that midnight rider. Tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Well, my goodness gracious, let me tell you the news. My head's been wet with the midnight dew. I've been down on bended knee. Hopkins is a man from Galilee. He spoke to me in a voice so sweet. I thought I heard the shuffle of angels. He called my name and my heart stood still. When he said, John, go do my will. Go tell that long-tongued liar. Go and tell that midnight rider. Tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Tell him that God's gonna cut him down. Well, you may throw you a rock, hide your hand. Working in the dark against your fellow men. But as sure as God made black and white, what's done in the dark will be brought to the light. You can run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Sooner or later, gotta cut you down. Go tell that long-tongued liar. Go and tell that midnight rider. Tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter.
We will be back in some form.
We have an army of digital soldiers, because this was an insurgency.
Hundreds dead, thousands infected across multiple continents.
You guys know what this represents?
All the people that have gone out there against the mainstream media and said, you're going to call us racist, you're going to call us potential Timothy McVeighs, you are.
All right. Welcome to the party, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the PatriotPartyNews.com. I'm your host, Chaz Up Carter, better known as Underground Patriot. Hope everyone is kicking ass and taking names today. Oh, yeah. Today is one hell of a day, and it was one hell of a night, actually. We're going to talk about that briefly. So what we do real quick, we're going to do a roll call, get this party started right. If you're a patriot and you know it, let us know where you're located. What state do you represent in this great republic of the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen? North Carolina representing. What's up, North Carolina? Tell us. Texas in the house. Woo-woo. Go Dogs. Michigan in the house. Ohio's checking in. Alabama. Florida saying, what's up? What's up, Florida? West Virginia, Indiana, Minnesota, Pennsylvania. Woo-woo. Go Dogs. Georgia in the house. Woo! Georgia in the house. Boy, Georgia's representing. There you go. North Carolina, Indiana, Ohio in the house. What's up, Ohio? Hope everyone is kicking ass and kicking ass some more before you take names. What's up, North Carolina, Illinois, Northeast Tennessee? Loving it. Alberta, Canada checking in. Hey, what's up, our Canadian patriot? What's up, everybody? North Dakota in the house. North Carolina's in the house. Nashville, Tennessee representing. What's up, Nashville? What's up? Jersey. That's right. Thanks, Top Cop. Good to have you, brother. See here, Michigan representing, loving it, loving it, loving it. Hawaii's in the house. Now we're cooking with some grease. I just got a bunch of people just commented at once here. Tennessee, what's up? Michigan, Northwest Pennsylvania checking in. Florida saying they're out of gas is checking in. Yeah, we just heard that too. We'll talk about that here in a second. Holding the line in Kansas. What's up? Wisconsin. Loving it. Pennsylvania's in the house. What's up, Proud Patriot? What's up, Bill? Holding it down in North Carolina. What's going on? Thanks for checking in, San Diego. South freaking Carolina. Woo-hoo. Go Dogs. Woo-hoo. North Carolina in the house. Massachusetts checking in. Thanks for checking in, guys. West Virginia, Florida, Cali in the house, Kansas in the house. Brayden in Florida here. Alabama, Pensacola, Florida. Texas still has gas. Hold down the fort, Chaz. I know that's right. East Tennessee representing Tennessee Proud, Oklahoma. And I know you guys are still rolling in. So, who are we? What are we about? Well, I'm really glad you freaking asked. So we are the Patriot Party News.com. This is our website. We also have our own platform. It's called PatriotShoot.com. All you got to do is go up here, click on members, or you can go directly to PatriotShoot.com. It's also in the ticker that you see at the very bottom of your screen. Please do not let them silence us. We support charities. We support causes, Patriot related. If you're a Patriot company out there looking to get your company more exposure with other like-minded patrons and patriots, you came to the right place. So lots of things are going on, but there's always going to be somebody at my door. Because I believe I just heard the doorbell ring, and Betcher.
Greetings from the People's Republic of California, where we're masked. You know what? Fuck that shit. I hate that shit. Good morning.
Morning. How the hell are you in California?
I'm good. I was just reading the chat. See, remember yesterday I told you I'd figure it out. So one phone is Twitch. The other phone is YouTube. I did figure it out. I'm probably the stupidest way to figure it out, but at least this way I can watch both channels while we talk, and I can have you and I in a full screen.
Yes.
So
sir.
Good morning. How is it there with the whole gas and all that shit that went down a couple days ago? And I've been reading with people in my group telling me that there's nothing. I mean, this morning I talked to my best friend in the Dirty Myrtle. It's bike week. It's bike week in Myrtle Beach, and that's a huge thing. I mean, that is a huge thing. And to know that today they basically canceled it. Well, one of two reasons. One, because it's raining, and two, because nobody can get gas to get into it or get out. And I think I think that's I think that is going to be a hurting to that economy, much like we go back to the container and what it did to shipping. It's this domino effect. You're going to see, I mean, that's why the RV, I mean, but there's something I wanted to talk to you about, and we were talking about it off stage. So I figured we started off, right there. Okay. So can you bring up the link that's in that article that I sent you and share that?
Let's see here real quick.
So what he's pulling up is, I wanted to talk to everybody and educate everybody about Arizona. And I'm not talking just about the audit. In fact, it was because of the audit that it was revealed. And it's something that I think is a domino that's going to scream across this nation. Just like the people that went, you know what? I want the mask off my children, and that's why I started with the mask. I want that off of my children, and if you don't do what we put you there to do, then there's the door. And that's what's happened. Those people, they get, you know what? These people are pissed. I'm not going to deal with this shit. I'm out. And the people got rid of them, put a new thing in. They instituted prayer before their meeting. They instituted to take the mask off the children in the school district, and they teaching now religion and spirituality, not just religion, but religion and spirituality. So when you see that, that's this thing that needs to happen in Arizona. This is ground, and like you said to me backstage, Arizona's been ground zero for so many things. Having had one.
Well, I mean, when's it going to stop? When is this all going to stop, Spectre? We are both been having our own, perspectives on things, but when is this going to stop?
Well, I mean, look, the what we're watching is, you and I know, and everybody that's in the chat, we're okay. I'll ask you a question. Let's see if the people in the chat know this answer.
Okay.
At the time of the 13 colonies, there was 4 million colonialists of different factions, be it the Commonwealth or Republic, but there were 13 different colonies, and they totaled 4 billion people. And at the time of the Revolutionary War, what was the total of the populace in a percentage that fought the British, the greatest army on the planet Earth?
Right.
4 million people. What was the percentage of those 4 million that actually fought them? It will blow your mind when you understand. So it's open to the chat. Let's see if anybody gets it. You get a virtual digital cookie. Sorry, we don't have cookies yet to send to you. About 10%.
Here's one that came in. 10%.
Now I'll give you. I like to give hints to people, because you know the answer. You just don't realize you know the answer. So we know that the 1% are the elite, correct?
Yes.
So if we know the 1%, what is another percentage number that's always constantly used over and over?
0.5.
Peace Pipe 71. You win the digital cookie.
Peace Pipe. Where is
Cindy West gets the Baker's Dozen cookie that we can't send to you, but that's 2 people so far.
Okay.
So it was actually 3% of the total populace of 4 billion people. And the Oath Keepers are the 3%. They're the ones that are they're the ones on vigil. They watch everything. They are part of that Q collective. So 3% of us are awake. 3% of us have money to revalue. And then when you look at that number is boggling, because there's 7 billion people on the planet, and there's 11.6 million people on the entire planet that are going to reevaluate money.
Mm-hmm.
That's less than
100%. 800 numbers today. They're talking about 800 numbers today, Spectre. Now, we've heard, now maybe you've heard this before, but I've never
heard it a few times.
Intel come into, and say it's happening today. This is what it is. Not to that degree, maybe to some degree.
Well, it's another thing. There's a couple markers that, of recent, there have been certain gurus out there, and I'm not going to name names because I leave it up to you to find those out, because sometimes people, you bring up one name and they go, or they'll just go, really? What are you talking about, Spectre? But look, every one of them has truths in their own thing. It's just for you to find out what the truth is. Mm-hmm. And sometimes some of those gurus are very tight with intel, and they know that the cabal watch the intel that comes out of these guys, and sometimes you have to give disinformation. Just think, I think Tokyo Rose is a perfect example of disinformation, because as much as she was trying to get the GIs, she in her own special way was actually telling the military what the hell you were doing to them and how bad you were hurting them. And that's what that's the Tokyo Rose in that. So yeah, I the intel of late, I've noticed that it hasn't circled back. In fact, it's getting you ready for what actually happens when you walk through that door and you sit down, and across from you is a person from the NSA, a person from the reevaluation, and there's an empty chair, because in that empty chair behind them are representatives from the 5 banks. And just know that when that bank sits in that chair, you have stuff that you've never had unless you've made an enormous amount of money. And that whole veil, it switches. And I'll send you something that I got, and I want you to take certain things off of it, and I'll tell you, and then we'll share it with the group, because I think it's valid.
And that's what it kind of was on the link that you sent before. That's what I was going to say. We'll just kind of roll from it and go.
Yeah, like I said, with the RV, I mean, I probably will have an emotional breakdown, because I love helping people. I love opening the door for women and doing nightly virtues. And I'm a fallen Boy Scout. I am a Boy Scout, but I went into the rock and roll business, and damn, those parties were fun, and damn, those drugs were good. And I could look back on it now and go, well, I'm glad I did that now, because if I tried that, if I tried that now, I know I'd have a heart attack. So those are fond memories, but it also made me who I am today, because going to those parties, you're exposed. And I saw a side of that industry that I didn't want any part of. And I didn't go to those parties. And because I didn't go to those parties, I didn't climb up the ladder like I should have. I went from television and radio at the time. They were market numbers. Number 1 is always New York City. Number 2, Los Angeles. San Diego, even though we're right next to Los Angeles, the number 2 market, San Diego is the 19th market. I apprenticed in the number 2 market. And I went to the 164th market to start my career, and then bebopped around the country, and then went, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it in Hawaii. And so I wound up working in Oahu and Maui, and then settled in on the Big Island. And I watch, do you watch Deadliest Catch? I think that's a great show.
I couldn't tell you if it's still going now, but when it first came out.
It is. They actually have a Deadliest Catch Hawaii. And it's based off of the Big Island. So last night we were watching it, and I had to hit pause, and I showed Sheila where I go, that's where I used to live, right there. I live just outside of town in this house that there's a catamaran, this giant catamaran that holds dinner at night. Years ago, the owner of the catamaran walked in on his wife and another woman, and wound up shooting to both of them, and then put a gun to his head killed himself. And the house was really cheap. It was just on the edge of town. You cross this little bridge, there was town. And I would be able to wake up in the morning, climb over the wall, surf in the morning, take off, go do radio, come back, pick up the wife and the kid, bring them home, and then book over to Hilo and do television. And that I did that for 2 years, and it was the coolest gig that I could have. But that's when I was really exposed to the television veil. And you would think paradise is paradise, but that evil, it doesn't matter where it is, that evil exists.
We've heard it time and time again too. I mean, you're not the only one to say this, but at the same time, people at your level that have seen things that the masses would never see. Okay. And it's scary, but at the same time, it's an awakening within itself. That goes. We're gonna, and I hate, I'm using this phrase because I think it's the funniest phrase ever of late. Circling back to Arizona, and what we wanted to talk about. Okay, so this, I'm gonna pull it up here on mine, because I want to make sure that I get the actual. This is something I do since we were talking about the GCR and so forth. We were talking about Nick's intel. Okay, right, came out. Obviously, Daewoo had sent out a memo. We were looking that over, and what's awesome is you and I were talking, before show, and we were comparing. This is what Daewoo said. This is what your contacts were saying. I mean, dead on. 100%. It's like it was like meeting at the
Yeah,
water.
and then this morning and listening, modding for Mark this morning because I overslept a little bit. It's early, 7 a.m. to mod for Mark and was kind of up late and I missed a little bit of it, but I went back and caught it. But modding this morning, it was interesting. The last couple of days, people have been attacking each other in the chat because it's an open chat.
Right.
And then today it wasn't like that. Today it was more educational. People were trying to help. There was a bunch of new people. I was like really surprised. But listening to what Mark had said, he was talking about that his contacts are drying up too. And I was like, okay, well, then that makes me feel better because, when we talked, look, when you vet something, use logic, reason, and empirical evidence. And your empirical evidence is vetting. And my logic and reason having that conversation with you, there's vet number 2 in my book because Mark vetted number 3. And then I went and read Bruce's call from last night and went, oh, okay. Because all you're doing is just trying to get as many dominoes as you can and line them up and go, if I hit this, do they all fall in a row so that I know the RV is going to happen in the 800 numbers? Because as well as I do, that guy's sitting there with that shotgun going,
right. Can
I get a break? Yeah, it's like my arm is tired. Can I get a coffee break, please? Because how long has that guy's been standing at that line? But again, he's military. He'll stand there until he's told not to stand there. So that's the difference between that mindset and us waiting. And I learned, and I think everyone will agree to this, is that it happens on God's time.
Amen.
It'll happen did we know that Israel was going to suffer what Israel has suffered in the last couple of days? Yeah, we did. We did know that because they said they were saving Israel for last, right? And then the media is right after that. And we know that because look, those attacks. I was watching NORAD early this morning, like you sent me that email and like 22 minutes. Holy crap. I had blinders on as I was looking for my information this morning. And I was watching the NORAD stuff. So yeah, bring that thing up. Let's talk about this thing. Okay. So what I want to talk to you, everybody, about is the writ of quo warranto. And it was delivered to the Arizona Supreme Court on Friday. So a brief explanation of this is the quo warranto is a special form of legal action to resolve a dispute over whether a specific person has the legal right to hold office. And the petitioners are the public of Arizona, and those that were named in this were the governor, the secretary of state, the treasurer, the sheriff of Maricopa County, the Prima sheriff, the mayor of Phoenix, the Tucson mayor, the Maricopa County recorder, the superintendent of public instruction, corporations commissioner, corporations. There's like 4 corporation commissioners, and then there's representatives from 2 from District 9, 1 from District 10, 1 from District 25, 1 from 10 and 12. Now, the petitioners challenged the respondents the right to hold office based on actions others that were in direct violation of Help America Vote Act of 2002, the HAVA, federal law and state statute. Conditions for receiving votes of office were not met as to the law and the statute. Therefore, respondents are inadvertently usurpers. Our right has been grossly violated, an injury occurred and is occurring, and the facts so clearly egregious egalitarian. Ooh, that's a mouthful. Basically, it was illegal. Okay. That is a mouthful, man. I'm going to go.
So this was done Friday, correct? This was done
exactly.
Friday.
So the results of these failures rendered null in the leadership in place. The requested petitioner respects the court to enter judgment against the respondent in the following orders. Order that each respondent be removed from the trusted office that is now being held unlawfully. 2, order the pro tem only seat and challengers until such time as free and fair elections can be held. So this is that school board where the parents took over. This is that on steroids. Where they just went, and basically it all stems from why we're going through this audit in Arizona because of the Dominion machines. The Dominion machines are the reason why all these people are named. Hey, Daewoo, how you doing? Is because they go back to 2016, and every single one of those people named took office because of during that time of the Dominion machines being used. I mean, let's be realistic here. The state of Arizona, the corporation that runs the republic, the Arizona Republic, neither the common law or the corporate law had the ability to oversee the election. Dominion, a private company, oversaw the election. That is illegal. You can't do that.
Right.
And they did that from 2016 to today. So that's 5 years. So you were talking major fraud that has been perpetrated on the people of Arizona. And the people of Arizona are not people you want to mess with because they walk around with guns on their hip because they can.
Right.
And I would feel sorry for any politician now that is named in that has done these illegal activities. Now, let's see if the two sheriffs are stand-up guys and go, oh, if that's the fact, I'll step back and we'll put an interim sheriff until we can have an election. Then you know that's a man of honor. That is a true peacekeeper. That is a true lawman. But do you honestly think that those two guys are going to do that?
No, of course not. No,
not at all. Not at all. So I see Daewoo's in there. Do we need? Hey, and Kukla. There's Kukla, my girl.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, I was actually hitting all these buttons here. I was going to say hi to Daewoo earlier, but it gets all complicated. I feel like I'm in the Starship Enterprise on my side of the ball here. So this is like a skeleton crew trying to get the truth out to everyone. So good.
Hey, being producer, director, and talent, and actual board operator is hard.
And then I got to keep Nugget Lee in line. Right. No, she'd be like, what are you talking about? I keep you in line. That's true. She does.
Well, can we bring Daewoo in? Do I need to jump out and bring him in? Because I really want to hear.
You're good.
I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah. So Daewoo had sent in, and this is what we were talking about earlier. We were talking about he had sent me this, and we were covering it. He was talking about it was a lot of the same with Nick's intel. Our military intel contact is confirming, and they're saying as of today, and of course, they were talking about Tuesday, the 11th. They were obviously processing and getting everything set up, and bonds were finished roughly 48 hours ago, and payouts were going to be about 1%. They're also confirming that their contact, I guess, is going to be under NDA soon this week. And
let me break in here. That, and I know this is a device that you personally don't like because of the encryption, but there are a lot of people that use it. Hell, I still use it because I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. When this happens, I do know that a lot of boards will close. There are certain boards that will use music, or there'll be a mass send out, but they're all going to go to read only, to where only the moderators are going to give you things. So it's going to be quite interesting when this happens, because I belong to I know a lot of people belong to a lot of boards, and so
that's what we need to know. That's what we need to know.
When you see that, don't freak out. That's just another marker to tell you that the shit's coming, and get ready. Get your stuff, get your programs ready. If you're a humanitarian, stand in front of the mirror, give a 6-minute pitch. Make sure that you have copies for the two people across the table, and you have one to take with you, and you can refer to it. And if you're part of a group, tell them what your group is with, and it's going to be an amazing time. I'm looking for this forward to this divine blessing, because that's what it truly is.
Well, they're talking about 800 from what Daewoo and his contacts. Again, we don't, quote dates or rates. I know he's making sure. You better make sure you say that. Like, yes, I'm saying it. But they're talking about the exchange redemption appointments, and there would be multiple NDAs. I guess the second NDA, which would be a signed hard copy, would be actually at the appointment itself.
Yeah, from what I understand, there's if you don't sign the NDAs on the website, you're not getting a number.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I'm understanding, it's going to be 2 or 3. It keeps fluctuating back and forth. You know, it's kind of like a year ago, it was 80-20 on the humanitarian. And then it was, oh, no, you don't got to worry about it. Then you got to worry a little bit about it. And now we're back to the 80-20. So,
Right.
yeah, that's I don't know. I'm real hopeful that it comes out. I really am. It's interesting on how it's all playing out. It's nice that you can actually talk about it instead of going, well, you know, if we want to go get those 2 bushels of onions,
Right.
and you know, we drive the cart over here.
I hated that. I hated that.
Well, it just oops. It goes back to it's a virtual muzzle. And
Yeah.
if people don't see it as a virtual muzzle, they're compliant with it. It's just like going through TSA. You're giving up your right for them to examine your body. Okay, you've seen my scar, right? Inside my body, I got 22 metal staples from 1965 when that was state of the art,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now I get to have those. So when I go through, they're like, sir, can you step over here? We got to find out what this metal is. So now I just go, hey, look, I'm a cancer recipient. I got staples in my body. It's going to go off. I go, they're shaped like this. And I look at the screen and there's my staples. And they're like, okay, cool, we're good. But for the longest time, it was so annoying. They're like, why do we get this? And there's nothing there. Well, do you see the scar? You know, there was operations way back in the 60s when they did this. Now they have they were doing cat gut, and now they have these staples that actually dissolve.
I've heard about that.
That to me is mind blowing.
That is mind blowing. I just wish they'd just bring, you know, let's go ahead and get these med bads out and let's just fix it all and be done with it all together.
Okay, let's Dodger AM girl. So that must mean you're a Dodger fan. Yes. I'm sorry. Somebody has to be a Dodger fan. My daughter is one. I've tried to help her. She just doesn't get it. You know, I'm from San Francisco. I'm a Giants fan, but I live in San Diego. And because living here and when the O'Malleys bought the team, and yes, they were the Dodgers, the old leadership, they actually turned this team around.
She's talking about a Dodge Ram truck, Spectre. It's okay. It must be a Southern thing.
No, you know what it is? It's because, oh my God, I just made a
now that's funny right there for y'all that are watching. I was like, Dodge. It must be like.
I saw Dodger AM Club. That's because I'm not wearing my glasses. That's because I'm an old man. But that was funny though, right?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I think we should talk about how this works. Okay.
Yeah.
So my understanding, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is that Nick, Mark, okay, it all stems from Wells Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
5 months ago, Abbott Downing was the wealth management company. They're owned by Wells Fargo. They email on Wells Fargo's addresses. So what happened was they went, okay, people are going to freak out because why are they getting an email from Wells Fargo when it's Abbott Downing and Wealth Management Group? Because they were supposed to be in that other chair. Right. Now they're with Wells Fargo, so there's one combined email. So everything stems from Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo emails it to Dinar Chronicles, Operation Disclosure, Fleming, Bruce, Frank 26, Mark. There's one other, Holly, and God, there's one more that I cannot think of who it is, but there's 9 of them, and then from there they distribute it out to their groups. Mm-hmm. And if you're on Dinar Chronicles and you subscribe to them, you'll get the email right to them. Being a mod from Mark, I'll get it, and as soon as I'll get it, I'll pass it on to you, and you can pass it on to the network. Okay, because I know when I'm getting mine. I know how the little process works on that. Now, once you get this, what you're going to get is a website, and once you log into that website, you're going to put in your information, and that information is going to go to the NSA. Just know that. It's going to the NSA because there's going to be a person across from that table from the NSA who has everything about you. And there is a time period between 1980 to 1986. I'm so glad we didn't have Facebook then, because the things I did, I would have been posting, and it would not have been good for me now. But they know about that period, and I'm going to come clean and go, yeah, that was me. Because, yeah, that was me. So once once you put your information, it's going to be 2 or 3 NDAs. And from what I was reading this morning, one of the NDAs is all about personal scene. You're not going to talk about anything that's said from this point forward. And the second one is going to cover, I believe, no, don't quote me on this. I believe it's going to be talking about once you make this phone, once you agree to everything on here and you say yes, then the phone number will be released to you. Now, the phone number is not for everybody. The phone number is made specifically for you. You cannot give it to your mom, your sister, your best friend, me, Chaz, nobody. That number is for you, because that number was generated based on what you did when you signed in. And as the NSA is cross-checking you through the QFS system, it already knows who you are. And do a lot of people here know what the QFS really does?
Some people do, some people don't, but please go ahead and go through it.
The QFS is an AI algorithm that is based on your emotion and your movement through time and space. And it calculates all these movements, and it calculates at a mind-boggling 3 billion computations a second. That's truly mind-boggling. So it can anticipate what you're going to do and go, oh, well, you're going to need $100,000 to pull out of your bank account for this. So it's got that. But right now, it's just learning who you are, and that's why when you put all this information. So now you've signed it. It gives you the 800 number. Now, when you get on that phone call, they're going to say, like for me, and I'll say my name. I'll say my first name. Hello, Greg. How are you? And I'll go, oh, you know my first and last name. Well, that's kind of scary. And they go, do you live at this? Is this your phone number? Blah, blah, blah. And do you get, we're going to send you an email. We need you to digitally sign that. And once you sign that, then they'll go, okay, what currencies do you have? Now, if you bought Zim through Great American Coin Company or Wells Fargo or Chase or any bank, more than likely Wells Fargo will be sending you an email, okay? Or Great American Coin Company will send you an email. But I wouldn't bank on that. I would bank on getting the email for the safe web link from one of the gurus, or get it here from Chaz. Okay, that's probably the safest way. So once you do all that, they'll go. You go. I have Zim, and I have Dong, Dinar, Rupee, whatever, because there's 22 that you can say that are in the first basket. Now, when they ask you, don't ever, and I mean capital invisible letters is 20 feet tall, ever tell them how much you have. They don't care to know, and I know you want to tell them, but don't. All they want to know is, did you buy the Zim, or was the Zim gifted to you? They're trying to find out how much was actually sold and how much were people, because at one point you could buy 100 trillion Zim bond notes for $10.
What is gifted? Explain real quick. Let's kind of just slow down on the gifted. Is it just someone giving you the money?
Yeah, it's somebody just going, here you go, brother. I love you. Take this. Right. That's all it is. Now, some people can back it up with a gifting letter or not. I mean, it really doesn't matter, because it's yours. It's in your possession, and they can't do anything about it. Now, if you were one of those people that fell to the scam to say, send me your Zim's serial number, and now you realize that you shouldn't have done that, well, you can, when you're at the table, you can let them know that, because that's an important thing, because maybe that group got in before you.
Some people doing that too, and it's messed up, and it's kind of scary.
There was one guru in particular that did that, and it made your eyes go, really? You're doing that, huh? Okay. So now you're sitting, now you're telling them, okay, I have Zim. So automatically what happens is you get moved to the front of the line, like the e-ticket at Disneyland or any of those fast passes that they have now. You just side skirt the whole line, and Zim are being directed to redemption centers. And currency Dong, if you have currency like Dong or Dinar, you're being directed to a tier 1 bank, Chase, Wells Fargo. So they're gonna meet you. They're gonna meet you there, and that'll be probably the biggest bank in your town, because the biggest bank has a wealth manager, and wealth managers are pretty rare. They only, like in San Diego, I know there's only 2 for Chase for all of San Diego. That's a pretty big county to have that. So I have to drive quite a ways to go see my wealth manager, but it's worth it, because when you walk in and you do all of this, and then there's 3 options presented to you. There is to take it and just walk away. Then there is, and this, we're talking Zim now. Let's remind them I'm talking Zim.
Right.
There are 3 options on the Zim. The first one is what's called the contact rate. That's just a simple, you get paid X cents, which we have no idea is. We could speculate that it could be 3 cents. We could speculate it could be 11 cents, or it could be 60 cents. We have no idea. But this purpose is, let's just say X, okay? And you get X, which is a much lower rate than if you were to, okay, Angela, we can do that. It's a much lower rate than B, because B, you're going to get 20% of whatever the money you have, and 80%, there is a list of 500 humanitarian projects that the Trump administration put together 2.5 years ago, and they keep amending it. I know for one, I've seen this, and Otay Mesa border checkpoint is where all the traffic for all the freight goes through.
Yes.
And currently it's at 12 stations, and they want to expand it to 32 to allow more trade to come through that corridor. And it's going to cost $1.2 billion to complete the project. Well, if you got 100 million, and 100 trillion. Oh my God, I can't even talk. 100 trillion bond. Let's say you get 60 cents per million. That gives 600 million, and you get to keep 20% of that, which is $85 million. You get to keep just for yourself by having that note, and the other bit goes to the government towards that project, and that's $340 million off the top of my head that you would put towards that project. Or you could pick C and go, I don't like rate A, I definitely don't like rate B, but I got projects. Here's my project, and you and I were talking off air,
Right.
And here's my project, and here's a list of all the people that I've spoken to about this project that will be working on that. And we know that it's going to take X, and here's my little 2-page summary. Stand up, give a 6-minute briefing about it, and then go, here's what I think the rate should be. Here's how much I want to put towards it, and here's how much I'm going to get to keep. So you get to dictate it. And if you're confident enough, which Chaz and I, we could go through this over and over to make sure that you're confident when you walk in and you just go, okay, I've got these pieces of paper. This is my walking orders on how I do things, because remember, God put you here for a reason. God gave you this currency because you're a good person. No matter what you've done, people may have vilified you, people may kick you while you're down, people may stab you in the back or take advantage of you. But overall, you're a good person. And that's why God knows in your heart you're a giving person. And that's why, I mean, look, my first one was given to me by friends of mine in Malibu, and they gifted me a $5 billion Zim bond, and I had no idea what it was. And then I learned, and then I went, okay, I really want to learn. And you really want to know the history on why it became so popular. It all stems from the new Chinese Republic wanting to use rare earth minerals because they're so expensive to buy as the output product to start their nation. And in that, they went to every single government on the planet and said, if we buy your Zimbabwe bonds, can you gather them all up and we'll pay you X? And that's the reason why we don't know what X is, because we don't know what the agreement that the United States, Trump and the US made with the Chinese Republic. We do know one thing. We do know that the U.S. Treasury, for every Zim bond that is bought by the U.S. Treasury, we do know that the new Chinese Republic, will pay them 2% of the face value on top of buying the Zim itself. That is a known. So that's kind of cool for our Treasury. Our Treasury is overflowing with money. I don't know if you all realize when Trump instituted the tariffs, he immediately stopped paying to the IRS and the cabal. He cut that money off coming through the San Pedro.
That's when it started getting crazy. That's when it just started, and things started getting more outlandish than anything else.
Exactly, because not only was he cutting their money supply off, he was cutting the shipping of children and weapons around the world that nobody knew about. I mean, to see that the reason why Gavin Newsom is still where Gavin Newsom is because he's a useful idiot. And the public of California, if they found out that man took $450 million and bought automatic weapons from the CCP to arm BLM and Antifa, if every Californian knew that dude not only would have been tarred and feathered, he would have been hung at least 3 times over. Because to say, we're allowing you to have this job and you're throwing poo in our face and tell me I have to wear a mask, and yet you go into downtown San Francisco with your elite friends and you're all sitting there with no mask on and you're not supposed to even be in that gathering. That's a do as I say, don't do as I do guy.
Right.
And I got a huge problem with guys like that because that job is a sacred honor. We allow you to have that. The people allow you. You don't get to dictate to us. Remember who you work for. And that's the problem, is because the cabal has got this thing like this, the shortages. Do you think we're going to have the gas shortages that we had in the 70s, or
I think it's going to be worse? I think this is just the beginning. I think now, I was young. I was born in 76. Okay, to tell you my age, but I vaguely remember.
I was just learning how to drive. I remember. I could tell you, there's probably some folks in here older than I am, but I remember that when I bought my first gas, it was 41 cents a gallon. And look at it now. I mean, today I woke up I was looking on Gas Buddy. The most expensive gas in town for regular unleaded is 501, and the cheapest is $4.92. Wow. But super unleaded is almost $5.35. And it's like, think about all those people that got all those, those sports cars. There's going to come a point where Californians are going, just to go to LA and back just cost me $190. Is that right? Well, yeah, when you figure it out. But if you got a Tesla, you're there and back on one charge. And if you have the basically the free account, which means you don't pay for your electricity because you bought the car, your journey is free. And I mean, it's kind of trippy what Elon did in California and what he's doing. Do you know that he's currently boring a tunnel from Los Angeles to Vegas?
Yes, I heard it's going to be like the train. It's going to be like the transit, like they've had with DUMS, that type of technology of some sort.
Yeah, they put the car on it. So the car gets put on a sled, and the sled does 160 miles an hour. And you just sit, all you do is just sit in your car, and in an hour and 10 minutes, you're in Vegas. And it's only for Tesla owners. They originally did a test of a 1.6 mile bore, which is it goes like this, and now they're just building that tunnel, and they expect to be in Vegas by the end of the summer.
Wow.
I mean, that's incredible. That's like the bullet train to nowhere.
That's crazy.
Nancy Pelosi's husband has made $120 million overseeing something that they never laid a track down. They never went and got a demo model or bought a model of a train that's supposed to go on this track. All they've done is that road that the track is going on, all that land, Pelosi and Newsom and that Furious Four that's captured California, they've been buying all that land up in front of the track. So when the track comes through, they're ready to propose to flip that land and sell it back to the state and make a double profit. They use the people's money to buy that land, and then they're going to turn around and make a profit off of it when the state comes through to lay the track.
Insider information is really all it is.
No, not really. It's known here in California. It is a known thing. I mean,
Well, in
what's funny
Cali,
is,
over here, on the East Coast, some people might. I didn't know that. I had no clue about that.
yeah, and that's because of living here and knowing California politics, and you just know how slimy it's been. And that's why I'm saying, ooh, what did I get? Sorry, I just got something in one of my groups that somebody messaged me privately. I'm not gonna say anything about that because I can't even vet that what it was said to me. So, that whole thing with the bullet train, and when I was in Texas, I learned that it was California that won that because the originally was supposed to be in Texas to go from Dallas Fort Worth to Austin to Houston to San Antonio and back to Dallas Fort Worth, and was called the Loop, and that you could get on the train in Dallas, and 3 hours later you could get off the train in Dallas, but go through 4 major cities in Texas. And California won that, and now we understand why, because it was all about payback, So what do we got going on in Israel? Anything? Is it quiet? I hope
it's been quiet.
Sorry, I got the military overhead.
Yeah, it's they was bombing earlier. I mean, supposedly they hit the nuclear facility in Israel. I don't know how much of the impact, but it was enough to where they were showing pictures and there was explosions everywhere. But that was earlier, I think, this morning. There were some missiles that hit as well, but you never know. This is over, I guess, Israel and Hamas showing and you're right. If there's so many missiles being thrown at Israel from Hamas, the Iron Drone system couldn't.
It was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I mean, totally. Did you see that map that showed all the alerts of missiles? It basically covered
platform. Somebody sent that. It was like if you were looking at Jerusalem, the state itself, all to half of it.
It was just all little red dots through the whole of it. I was blown away.
Yeah. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, hey, patty cake. In 1974, when you were going to Pendleton, we were leaving Portsmouth heading to Fort Leavenworth, and I remember that too. The gas shortage of 74, traveling across the country, hoping that we wouldn't run out of gas because some states, you would go, oh, it's cool because I got an even number, and then you'd go into another state, and, oh, I'm not going to get gas because I got an even number, It was a different time. I hope to God it doesn't come to that, but I think I'm much in agreement with you. I think so too.
All right. No, absolutely. And here, obviously, Israel Defense Forces, they had targeted senior intelligence and counterintelligence officers from the Palestinian Hamas terrorist group on Tuesday. And this is a post on Twitter from Israeli Defense Forces. It says, our fighter jets with the ISA neutralized key figures of Hamas intelligence. And it goes on to say more or less that their intelligence is better because we killed you. The end. Because they killed everyone there.
It's about time. It's about time we've gone, you know what? Fuck you, bitch. I'm better than you. And that's why you're dead and I'm still alive. And look, as a son of a Marine, I've seen what our military can do up front. And I would be very terrified if I saw that machine coming at me, and we've only had one president that actually unleashed the power of that machine, and I mean really, really unleashed it, and it scared the shit out of people. And it should. We're not a people you want to mess with. I mean, Tennesseans and Kentuckians are known to be crack fucking shots. I mean, marksman galore, because you go out for that hunt in that beautiful land that you live on, and there's so much. And I forgot living out here in California, I see lizards and I see birds. That's about it on wildlife. I went to Texas. I saw deer. I saw possums. I saw this. I saw that. And I was like, I forgot what it was like to be in an area where there's wildlife, where you can pick up a gun and go, you know what? I'm going to go hunt today. and go hunt these things. And because of that, you know, and like Texans, their love of their freedom is not a group of people I wanted would make mad. And you know, another group which I'm really surprised that got neutered really big time
What's
are
that?
New Yorkers.
Yeah, they did.
It made me look. My best friend Mike is a New Yorker, and you know, I call him the rake sometimes because of a thing that an altercation we got into one time, and he snatched this guy's blow to my face out of the air. I didn't even know he was there. He just went in and just reached and grabbed it because we got in an altercation. Somebody questioned our paperwork and then decided that their paperwork didn't matter, and it came to fisticuffs. So but yeah, he's even was telling me, and how badly did Cuomo neuter the New Yorkers, because that's a group of people that are commonly known for, hey, you talking to me? What do you I mean, even the mafioso got neutered. That's just blew me away.
All of them. Oh, absolutely, 100%. Now we're getting reports in right now. I know Nikki Lee, I just got that. She had just texted me something in regards to what's going on in Israel. They have 9 p.m. I don't know if this, Nikki Lee, if you want to tell everybody in the chat exactly, or let me know if it's 9 p.m. tonight Eastern, that this is time step, that this is going down, or what. I would like to get some insight on that. I'll be looking in the chat. But anyway, there's a time on here. It's talking about threatening to launch rockets against Israel over the airstrikes in Gaza at 9. Okay, it's 9 p.m. Jerusalem time.
So it's
pretty serious.
Right now, Jerusalem is 9 hours ahead of the both of us. So
it's happening. I guess here's your answer.
It's 11 o'clock for me. 9 hours. That makes it 8 o'clock. So within the next hour.
Look at here. We're streaming live right now, and here we go. So I guess you nailed it on the time, because look what's happening. They're going to town. Look at all that in that right corner up top.
Okay, so again, going back to, how is it possible that the cameras know where to shoot when this goes down? Come on, you're watching a movie. Don't be afraid, because fear causes that mystical, magical elixir for negative called Loosh, and we don't want you to be fearful. This is a movie. Sit back, and yes, it's one of those movies that, yes, it's happening right before your eyes, but still, it's a movie. If you live next to a military base, pay attention to what goes on at your base, because if there's frantic movement, then start looking and going, what's going on? But none of this will happen in our country. We're safe and secure. This war has been won. Remember when Hitler died, Chaz, how long did the war go on after Hitler died? How long did those hardened Nazis still go on? They didn't.
No,
they still
about the head of a snake is what you
right.
did.
Well, here's in the movie Hellboy. There's a truth in the movie Hellboy when he brings the young apprentice in to take over his position with Hellboy. The young agent stops and he's looking at this thing, and the old man goes, "Oh yeah, that was when the World War II ended in 1954, when the Germans finally gave up." But it wasn't, because if you look in 1954, that was the integration of paperclip, which brought all the Nazis into our government, which then effectively ended the war. Because why? We got that gold fringe around our flag. They captured our nation. You know, and they use propaganda to say you won, America. And when America really finds out this shit, I mean, it pisses me off. It makes me not be able to sleep. You know,
you're not the only one. I think we all are dealing with the same thing. You know, it sucks. It really does.
Don't get excited over Amber Alert silence.
Oh, I know. I saw that, and I was like tripping out a little bit about it, because that's what some people were saying.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Is that the actual volume from this TV?
So that's what everyone's waiting to hear. And look what they're doing here on the screen.
Wow, that's a very angry rabbi.
Let's see what's going on here. Hang on, see if we can even understand. Yeah, good luck understanding that. Okay.
Does it, no, go. You can. Does it have a CC on it? Because it's YouTube. It should be able to, right?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
Because it's hilarious. Sometimes the YouTube AI
Geez,
on
look at that. Did you see that? Holy
yeah, that was cool.
smokes. That was a big boy. Oh. Yeah, I'm not.
Boy, the Khazarians are putting up a fight, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're trying to keep. This is the last grasp of power for them was Israel, because Netanyahu, Modi, Xi, and Trump have just 22 nations. Can you imagine a war with 22 nations and the world doesn't even know that they're at war?
Wow.
How cool. I mean, not only is that cool.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that was a hit.
I mean, not as this war is that they're waging is underground, which keeps this from happening. Can you imagine if they were fighting on the surface, it would be worse than the World War. Yeah. Because people would be freaking out going, is my neighbor cabal? Is my neighbor a Satanist? And then that paranoia sets in, and then you have the purge. I mean, basically, right? I mean, why do you think movies are predictive programming? And have you noticed an upswing in horror and thriller movies like right before the pandemic?
I've also noticed that Hollywood is gone too. And everyone should be waking up to the effect of, okay, not overnight. Okay. Can the movie industry just go away? There's not that many people are just going to disappear, folks. And I always hate those people that say, well, maybe they're all just taking a break. Yeah. Because they were pedophiles or they're involved with the adrenochrome.
Oh, Harvey Weinstein dropped the dime. Man, I'll tell you, from friends I know in Hollywood, he dropped the dime on so many people. They tried their best to kill that guy so bad. But remember, he walked in. There was a book that was in his hands. That was a signal to everybody in Hollywood. I'm giving you up. I'm saving my life. Fuck all of you people. And, that led to Oprah Winfrey and the Smallville actress and the Nexium.
And Ellen moving in with Courtney Cox, and she's Ellen DeGeneres. I saw somebody else. DeGeneres was, yeah.
Today, did you see that today? They canceled her show after 18 years.
Yeah,
they got tired of keeping that actress that was playing her or the clone, the CGI. They got tired of it because nobody was watching. And that's the thing. And it was all follow the stars because the stars know better than you because they're stars. No, they're narcissistic individuals. I know a bunch of them. You don't want to be associated with them. They're vain. They don't give a shit about you. Very few of them do. I mean, very few are true good guys like a Keanu Reeves. There's a white hat.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a guy that's. I mean, if there's never a more perfect example of the cabal and showing you what the cabal is as an assassin for the cabal, the fact that one member at the table would assassinate his sister just to get that seat just tells you how evil these people are. God. And that's why do you think this is so popular? Because it's a truth. What are they? I'm watching this.
Yeah.
Now, look, there's very few people with masks actually on.
Right.
And who would have thought that you could get away with wearing a mask into a bank and get money and walk out? Is that the most asinine thing? Oh, I better put my mask on before I go in the bank.
They're saying that Keanu Reeves was on the arrest and execution list. They're saying.
I saw him on that list.
I did too, and that's why I was thinking. But you know what? I saw Brad Pitt on there as well, but then that was CGI when he was doing that for the Oscars, and then what was the other? It was there's news reports that something happened to his health, I don't know the detail. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
but
it's
see,
just
you've never seen that. You've never seen that with Keanu. You've never seen that
No,
he's
you haven't.
in poor health. Whenever you see that, it went, oh, he got sick or he's not feeling well. That's like one of those codes to those of us, and it goes back to the 4 million people, only 3%. So every one of us that's here today, watching you and I chat, and we're interacting with the chat rooms, all of us are part of that 3%. That we're going to our family members and going, wake up.
Yep.
And they're just going, and then the Agent Smith comes in and takes over their body and goes, you're the devil, you're a conspiracy theorist, and you're this and you're that, because it is fighting so hard to keep control over you when, damn it, you're an American. I mean, and maybe Peggy, being the wife of a Marine. Peggy, Patty Cake, did you go overseas? Did you have to take? I remember taking classes on how to be a good American in Japan because of honor. Because as Americans, we're brash and we're very outspoken, right? Because that's who we are as a people. But yet we're always the first one to put a hand down and say, "Can I help?" We're always the first ones to reach into our wallet and go, here, take this. I don't care if you pay me back. But yet we're also the same group of people that don't get on our bad side, because I'm pleading with you. I'm crying for you not to piss me off, because you don't know of the world of hurt that's coming at you. And it's just like Trump. Whoever sit here and thinks that he's not done apparently doesn't know the man, because the man has always said, if you come at me, you better make sure you put me down, because if not, I'm coming at you 100 times harder.
Well, shit's getting real. I can tell you that right now, because look at that. Holy shit. That's crazy.
So
they broke in live. This guy's is addressing everybody. And I wonder if this is involving what happened. Of course, you were seeing.
You notice there's gold fringe around. Gold fringe around that flag. So this is a useful idiot being told what to say.
Right.
Remember, it's just a movie, and in every movie that we go to, it takes 2 hours to show. Every movie never tells you about how long something takes.
And look, now they're looting. They're going through the city. They are ripping it apart, folks. They're breaking it down. God,
yep. This is the chaos that happens because of defunding the police, or the city guards are for fear of their life, because there's way more of them than there are guards. So what government is this? What flag is that? Is that the Iraqis?
I think so. Yeah. Hang on, let's see if I can Israel. Let me see if I can get them in here. Hang on.
Oh yeah, he's speaking Farsi.
Yeah, that's.
I pray for those
going
people,
down
bro.
even bigger now, because obviously.
Because
this is getting pummeled there, man.
Because you and I, and pretty much everybody knows in here, is that we have to go to the brink of war. But when you look at it, who the sides that are doing it, they're all in it together, because the whole common thing is to fight against evil. And evil currently has this lens that you and I are watching. It's showing you what it wants to show you, not what it needs to show you.
But you know what? Mainstream media is not showing any of this at all.
I know, and that's because they're so focused. They're so hyper focused on Trump, because they know what he's about ready to do. I mean, the Voice of America, Starlink, Operation Thor's Hammer. I mean, the people that I've spoken to through text messages that are still in the business they know what's coming. I have 2 friends that work for Court TV down in Gitmo, and the shit that's where I originally got my first list from, was down there. And, why did the military put the fencing around the Capitol building and the White House and have the razor wire on the inside and the locks on the outside? Because number one, it is a foreign land, and those buildings were captured, and the people that were in it were captured. And because it's a foreign land, just like Gitmo is at a military base on foreign land, you can hold military tribunals. Hence, we go back to the fence was brought down around the White House, and then a plywood fence went up, and then that plywood fence came down, and there was a white cinder block wall there. So from my understandings is that the White House itself has been the last vestige for the leaders, which we don't know. We know they're captured. We don't know who they are yet because they haven't been revealed. I mean, they're slowly revealing all of this. I mean, the last Hillary, people think that was the real Hillary. No, that was the last of those clones. I mean, the deep state to the original Hillary she was a witch. She was a real witch that summoned the goddess Lilith into her body to allow Lilith to use her as a meat puppet to bring all of this evil upon us because God allowed it. You know what I mean? When it comes back to God just sits there and goes, they're not learning. I need to make them learn. So I'm going to add a little strife. And for God, that strife could be 80, 90 years. I mean, look how long marijuana has been illegal. And marijuana is the derivative of hemp. And how many hemp farms in your region went bust right after it was made illegal in the 30s so that we couldn't get all the uses of rope, and it forced other businesses to make it. And more importantly, it took it out of our diet so that they could use chemicals to attack us and make us sick and make our lifespan less. Because if you pay attention to the many different books of the Bible, we as a human species should be able to live to be 500 to 1,000 years old. But the myth says, oh, you can only be this age. And I mean, look now, 100 years ago, Chaz, I know your birthday's coming up. You would be seen as a village elder.
Oh Lord!
I mean, and me, I would be like, I'd be like the cranky old guy that lives out there, and he's beyond it all. But that's to be 58 years old 100 years ago was really rare because you didn't have good sanitation, you didn't have good water, you didn't have a good food supply because we didn't have refrigeration. We didn't know how to keep the spoils. So to see where we are now and to understand that to Cabal realize that we were getting healthier and healthier. Oh, we need to get this out. Now we can do this. And now they're just a drug pusher. I mean, they're worse than me when I sold marijuana and mushrooms and cocaine illegally. They're way worse than me. I mean, they're worse than the mob now. Because they can just legally go, well, I think today I'm going to kill you and I need a COVID patient. So goodbye. Here you go. And I don't know what happened. It had an adverse reaction. And Big Pharma goes, well, that person died of COVID. Here's a check for $45,000, doctor.
It's happening every day now. And that's what the power that people have at their fingertips would blow people's minds with someone's life, being ended, to the lies being told, to manipulation, to, genocide. And it's all, but it is what it is. We have to learn from this and then push forward to make sure this does not ever happen again, or we find ourselves compromised from within. And
that's the reason why you can't come out 4 years ago and say Hillary Clinton is a satanic witch. She kills children for their blood, but she has sex with them too. Everybody would go, oh my God, where do you get that? Prove it. If there's no pictures, it didn't happen. There are pictures, you don't want to see them. You really don't. It's funny, Silence brings up something important. So Silence, Project Veritas, the CNN producer, the director. That's the guy that you're talking about right there. That's the guy that that mainstream media said, no, his job is not important. I worked back there. I worked on that board. I was a producer and a director. That guy's job, he's the last vestige before it goes live. He's the one that says yes or no. He's the one that's told by the guy upstairs, you make sure that goes through, whether it's against your morals or not. And the mainstream is actually, let's be realistic. The news, if you look at it as a business charter, Chaz, what is the news? What is the business charter? What field does the news fall under?
I'd say it falls under probably marketing, I would imagine, to some degree, right? I mean, now what it used to be, what public was it public before?
The only public is PBS. That's the
Right,
only one. Okay, so what is Fox? Right there. That says everything. If news is entertainment and the Smith-Schuster rule has been taken away, all the news is propaganda. And all it is, and you combine that with the chip that's in the TV, it operates at 432 to 422 megahertz, which puts your pineal gland to sleep, which makes you go. And why are TV shows written at the 8th grade level, comedy shows are written at the 8th grade level, and dramas are written at the 10th grade level? Because they're dumbing down the public to be automatons, to just be worker bees instead of thinking outside the box. I mean, let me ask you, when you graduate, did you have to take a high school proficiency exam for your state to graduate from high school?
Yes.
I didn't.
Really?
Oh, I remember they were getting ready to institute it right before I got out of high school, but I'm like, no.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and I mean, now you have a child in school, right? Watch your child's education. I coached for 10 years at the high school level and 5 years at the college level, and I witnessed the dumbing down. I had a kid come to me when I was in the batting cage, and he goes, "So, coach, why did the guys at the Alamo put up a fight against? Because it says here they were, it was just some skirmish." And I'm like, no, we had originally taken that it was Mexico, but as the ebb and flow happens, Sam Houston and them captured that, but the Alamo, this was Mexico retaliating. And these guys were saying, no, you're not taking this part of Texas because, damn it, bro, we're Texans, and that's not what we do. And I go, what that book says is not what actually happened. And when you go through that, and you go, whoa, they're changing things. Like
they don't teach children cursive. You know this, right? They don't teach.
But California, 2 years now. 2 years now, we got a generation that does not know cursive. So they'll never understand what the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all the amendments are because they can't read it. And these individuals in a high place, they did that on purpose. Just like they've taken away apprenticeship. I mean, their shop is not what shop used to be.
Right.
You know, I don't think any schools offer drafting in school. ROTC is
trying to reset everything because we're seeing the evil. We're the ones like us and the ones that are watching us now that are awake, and that's what. And they want to kill us off, to make us dumb. They can control us, and at the end of the day, we're just nothing but mere slaves. Period.
Well, we are the minute we're born. And we sign that birth certificate, or as I call it, a bill of lading, because what you're doing is you're giving your child, which you're viewed as a piece of cargo that just miraculously made a new piece of cargo to be put upon the ship that's called the United States of America. And that ship is currently docked on the entire land of the country, hence the reason why they can have the law of the sea courts on land. But when you challenge the law of the sea in court, they have to recognize that. And if you ever go to court, it's Black's Law Dictionary, page 10, the definition for that gold fringe flag. And if you get a court officer that doesn't understand it, or it does and doesn't care to understand it, then you ask for a new court. And it took me 15 years in the California court system before I found a judge that actually recognized that. And the DA, that was trying to prosecute me, understood that too. Because if that judgment ever comes back upon me from the state of California, I have within my rights to go after the judge and the district attorney personally, because they both gave their oath of office that this wouldn't happen. So because of that, I've never had that issue. I mean, I had full custody of my kids, and the state said I owed them child support. At one point, I owed $837,000 and $837 $37,635 I owe the state of California for back child support. Because every month, whatever the number was, they doubled it and they doubled it and they doubled it. And I was like, I don't care, because number one, I'm not a state employee. I don't work for the state. So your shit means nothing to me. And a police officer comes at me and tries to take me to court. Number two, I know how the police work. I know that they are policy officers, and they don't have the legal jurisdiction. When they go, do you understand me? You're actually allowing yourself to be put under that. You're giving that policy officer now permission to act as a peace officer. Like anytime you get pulled over, a cop goes, license and registration, right? Correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
No. I'd like to know why you pulled me over first. I'd like to see your identification before we go any further and have this tat-a-tay. You don't get to know about me because you're wearing all black and you got a gun and you're acting like a thug. If more Americans stood up, I'll give everybody a homework assignment today. When you get off of YouTube, I want you to go find Big Nick South Florida Accountability. I found Big Nick about 3 years ago, and I love Big Nick. The cops are afraid of him, and just they should be. It's like when a sergeant rolls up, he has a rookie cop that's dealing with him. The cop wants his ID, and he's like, by what penal code do you? And I mean, he schools this cop on the laws. And then when the watch commander comes up, he'll grab the rookie and pull the rookie away. Let's take you over here. And he'll come, and then he'll put the rookie over there, and he'll come back and go, "Hey, Big Nick, how you doing? Are you teaching my young apprentices, their craft?" So, because he holds a camera, and the cops, they don't like that camera. They don't like you watching them. They want to watch you because they're taught that no matter if you're a law-abiding citizen or not, you're a criminal. And let's be realistic. The color of our skin between you and I, Chaz, they'll kind of look at it. They'll look at it one way, and whereas myself and Daewoo, unfortunately, they'll look at us, and especially the size I am, and go, "Well, he's a threat." And I can't tell you how many cops that have actually, after you get to talking to them, that was the first thing they saw was I'm a threat because I'm 6'4", I'm an ex-athlete, I know martial arts, and I'll tell them straight up, "Look, dude, I have 2 4th-degree black belts in martial arts in Okinawan karate and Kempo karate. And I just want you to know that. And if this goes wrong, I'm well within my rights to defend myself against you because all you are is a policy officer." Now, if it's a U.S. Marshal and it's a sheriff, then it's a different conversation because those two guys are the law. They are the ones that can enforce the law and go, "Get on the ground or I'm going to shoot you in the kneecap." So I have mad respect for those guys, but police officers, they kind of overstep their boundaries on certain things because the cities can get away with it because they have lawyers that back them up, and then they get put on administrative leave. And like I watch a TV show called The Rookie, and there was a storyline in there where the rookie cop was a young black cop whose father was the head of CID, the Criminal Investigations Unit,
right? And
he was being terrorized by his teaching cop.
We got 1 minute, by the way. We got 1 minute left in this, so go ahead. And
it was all caught on film. And then the latest episode was that cop was back on the force because the board, regardless of what he did, needed him because they were short on personnel. So it was like, no matter what you did, just slap your hand. Right. And that being exposed, that's what we're all being exposed to is all of this. And that's not acceptable anymore.
A lot of that has to involve around the propaganda and what they want to see too. And that just adds more fuel to the fire and lying to folks. No, I'm in full agreement of that. Listen, I've got to wrap this thing up now, but Spectre, thank you for what you bring.
Oh, thank you.
With us. Guys, we'll be tonight.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, tonight Roy Dale's going to be on. Just let everybody know, 7 p.m. But as always,
are we gonna get an update from Daewoo on the ground tomorrow? Are you gonna call in, bro?
Yeah,
I was hoping you'd call in. I wanted to do banter with you because I dig your work. You're an amazing guy. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bust in.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, we'll see. obviously Dave was tuning in. He'll hit you up or me, and we'll know definitely. So, Spectre, thanks again, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you. See you, everybody, from the great state of California. One day.
Spectre, ladies and gentlemen. Awesome. Good stuff, guys. Appreciate you hanging with us. Again, tonight it's going to be off the chain, 7 p.m. We're going to have more updates as they're rolling in. And I promise you, we don't want to leave a Patriot behind up in this camp. And we won't. Get ready. See you at 7 p.m. Central.